Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another gorgeous, gorgeous client reflection. Today, I'm going to be dropping in with a woman who's been inside Essie and the women's group. Her name is Chelsea, and she's based in the States and basically arrived into SEM as she was signing her divorce from her, and I quote, sexless marriage that she'd been in for almost a decade. And she needed to find herself again. Like she was just like, I don't even know who I am. And she was seeing all patterns and she was seeing all these things. And she wanted to change, to come into her body, to experience her fullness. And I really want to invite you, if you're watching this space, to really tap in and tune into her journey and what's happened for her. Because I know so many of us where we are starting is like, we've gone through some big dark night of soul, or we've gone through some big shift, and we don't even know how to piece together to find ourselves to do that inner work so that we are ready to call in our king, to come into our alignment. So I'm super excited to have her and hear her journey and hear her story. And yeah, stay tuned. You're in for a treat. Okay, I'm like so excited already, but landing into this space, my beautiful love, Chels, please, just for anyone who is watching this and tuning in, introduce yourself.
I'm Chelsea. I'm 36. I live in Las Vegas. Yeah, do you want me to say more?
No, that's
Okay. Okay.
perfect. Speak to me about this. Let's just dive right into all the goodness because I know we have so much to share. But first and foremost, you've obviously been inside SEM now for actually a little bit longer than the 3 months because you like hopped right in. You're like, yes. So I'm curious to know if you can breathe into where you were at the beginning, like before you came into SEM. So this is like August last year. Where were you before you dropped into the container? Like, what were your biggest problems? What were things that you were really battling with in that time of your life?
Crazy. August seems like a million lifetimes ago, and it might have actually been multiple lifetimes ago. Hold on. This is why she has to be a part of it. Um, in August or before August, I was going through a divorce. And even though I was feeling like confident about the decision and starting to feel good, I knew that I was needing to be on a healing journey. And I kind of just didn't really know what that meant for me. I was trying to do all the right things. Like I was working out and going to yoga and trying to take care of myself the best I can, but I just all felt like everything, my life had no stability. I had lost my support system. I'm trying to run a business by myself. And, kind of in the back of my mind, entertaining a new idea of a love, which sounded insane at the moment. And I was like, I need like a list of how to heal. Like I need rules and I need like to check things off my bucket list. And that's when you and I connected. And it was honestly divine timing. You just reached out to me, being the good saleswoman that you are. And I went into it like, oh, we'll see. I know Emma, we'll just have a chat and money's a little tight right now, so I'll probably just be like, oh, I can't right now. I just got a divorce. But when we started talking and you started talking about SEM, I just like hit my soul. Like I was like, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I need. And just going through the pillars, I was like, yeah, yes, please. Yeah, please give this to me right now. Like I'd be so lucky to have this in my life. And I feel like I did things in very Chelsea fashion as a rebel. I joined the course 3 months before, the group coaching even started to happen. And so I went into this very hermit, like internal phase and really just like went through it very alone, but not in a bad way at all. And it was very helpful to kind of go through the course a second time with other women. So it was interesting. I kind of got like two different versions of it. And that was a very personal situation to me. I don't know if anybody else goes through it that way.
Not all the time, but I can definitely say that it's so beautiful, like when you have that inner knowing that you were just like, this is it. And a lot of women like, do they want to join in early or like this nice cohort or whatever? And it's like there's so much value in doing a self journey and then coming into like a group journey. So wow, okay. Speak to me a little bit about your divorce. Just like what was happening there for you at that time of your life? What had sort of led up to it? What were you feeling? What were you facing during that period?
It's crazy to even think back
Mhm.
to who I was when I was married. I feel like I don't recognize that person. Even seeing photos, I like don't feel like that person is familiar to me. I think I had just lost myself so deeply and I had suppressed so many emotions that I was extremely dysregulated. Like even my body looks different, my face looks different. It is just bizarre. And it's crazy because my ex is not somebody that I hate, is honestly a wonderful person. It was very mutual. I mean, it's still been tough at times, losing, your support system, but it wasn't like I was in an abusive relationship or toxic or anything like that. It was just not right. And I think that that was the most confusing part about it was just like all of these elements are there. It seems good, but I was just not, I was like a shell of myself. And it's crazy to be on the other side of it now. Crazy.
So wild, but like just
Wild.
like it's so fucking profound. And I hear it often with women where they're like, I've lost myself in a relationship. And then we come out the other side and it's like, and often that is the point where if we don't do something different, we reattract in a pattern and we don't have any infrastructure to actually heal ourselves. But like freaking powerful that that was there. Also, just like the suppressed emotions and your body being different and knowing things weren't right and knowing you were a shell of yourself. I mean, let me ask you this. Obviously, we love the next part is like, where are you now? What's been happening?
Um, I'm still kind of in this entertaining a dating phase. I can't fully commit to like the idea that I'm dating. I don't really know why. I'm a little bit in denial, maybe. But very much just recently practiced some RBDSM. Is
Yes,
that all the letters?
RBSMA, baby.
I
Conversation.
I learned what I want and I learned to just say it. And setting those boundaries right up front made me feel so free that I didn't have to like hide this part of myself or pretend like it wasn't there to just like say it. Do you want me to get specific about that?
Yeah, but like tap us in because obviously, like coming out of a divorce and yes, tell us the thing.
Yeah. One thing through this journey that I had to just admit to myself. And it's so crazy how we don't want to just admit things to ourselves is that I do not have casual sex. And we live in a world where that is so normalized and expected of you. And I was terrified of dating because I felt like, sex was just a part of it. that's what is expected of me. And even though it was like something that I want too, like that's something I want too, but just to be real with myself and be like, I don't have casual sex. It's somebody that I will have sex, but it's just with somebody that I feel like it's going somewhere. Does it need to be the next love of my life? No, but it needs to be like somebody I find value in, and to just be honest with myself about that and be able to just speak that has been the most life-changing thing I've ever done. And it seems so simple. And now I kind of scream it from the rooftops. Like I'm like, hi, I don't have casual sex. Like everybody knows.
But like this is one of the most like women are like I'm disconnected from my femininity and I'm like more than likely you don't know how to set boundaries for you and your sex energy. You don't feel safe. Men and the masculine don't know how to meet you. And so you're either blocking yourself, hermiting, or like way too open. And actually, you just are losing your value in your body for what it works for you. And that shift mindset wise, but then also knowing how to talk about it and knowing how to bring it out, it's like, I feel freedom, I feel sexy, like all the things, right? Wow, I love it. Crazy. I also just love hearing this on these calls, but like it's such a fucking game changer. It's just so good.
Totally.
Okay, cool. So conscious communication is a vibe. Dating and
Yes.
your sexual values and your boundaries and having that freedom and enjoyment is hip hop and happening. Speak to me a little bit about like your body and just yourself. I know you said like your body's changed and you also before was a shell of yourself. How have you seen those shifts happening?
Trying to think of where to go with this. I think that I like prior to us starting the SEM journey, and when I was married, I was like just really unhappy in my body. It was just, it felt like it wasn't what I was used to. And so I was trying to like be body positive, right? And I was trying to be like, I'm getting older and I'm pushing 40. My body's changing. This is just what we've been told as women. Like our bodies change and your hormones go to shit and you just have to deal with it. That's just the way it was. And I was still working out and going to yoga and eating healthy and doing all these things. And I didn't feel like me. And I wanted to like, I made myself small. I like wasn't wearing clothes that I liked because I just didn't feel like me in my body. And it wasn't until my brain changed its mind and realized that I was just on the wrong path, that my body just changed so quickly. You know, like weight just, it was almost like water just like fell out of me. It was overnight. And people were like asking me, like, what have you been doing? Are you on a diet? And I was like, no, I just unexpectedly regulated my nervous system. I think it took me months to even figure out what happened. I was just like in shock with myself. But then starting the SEM journey was when we got into, you know, healing your hormones. And that was a total game changer. I felt like I was able to like sustain where my body was at, where I think I would have like fell back into old patterns and old habits. I was able to like regulate my eating with my cycle and even just like my, you know, stress levels and being more mindful of like, you know, cortisol and caffeine and all of that stuff. So I never in a million years did I think I would ever have a six pack. And now it's like my greatest accomplishment. I work out less than I ever have in my life. You know, I still like I don't restrict myself with my diet. I'm just more mindful. I know there's days when I'm like, I can have the chocolate, you know, I can go get a donut. Like, oh, not this week, but next week I'll be fine to have more sugar, like whatever, you know, and it just is all working. It's weird. It's not a battle, it's just working.
the thing that I get so stoked about because it was my journey too, right? Like I literally lost 25 kilos. Like it just melted off me. And it's such
Great.
a big thing when like we make a choice and we come into our frequency and I literally call it like you embody back, you emanate that. And it's like this effortless flow. And then when we understand how to work with our hormones and we know how to eat and all these things, we have pleasure. And ultimately, we feel like the vessel we're in is aligned to our energy. And the body will tell you when you're misaligned, and it's nothing to fight, it's something to learn how to work with. So you do literally, women naturally like just soften. I've seen it with like a bunch of women inside SEM where they're like, dude, I just like lost a lot of weight. I'm like, hormone regulation and a good sexual flow in your system is what the doctor genuinely ordered and what God designed.
Totally. And it's actually very simple. Like that's the craziest part. It is not complicated.
Wow, baby. Couple more questions like on these topics. Speak to me in general about how you're feeling now comparatively to where you were. What is like your general sense and feeling in your system?
Um, like emotionally, I'm like physically and like hormonally, I feel fucking great. Emotionally, that's a little rocky.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was kind of just a wreck. I just went through some shit with a client that was unexpected and annoying. And I just was fucking crying about it and meditating and feeling like shit. And I was almost like, I'm going to cancel my call with Emma because I don't want to do it. But I think I what I've learned is that um life shit's gonna happen. Like whatever. You can't control your external circumstances. And it's fine that they suck, and it's fine that you're sad or whatever in that moment. Be sad. But my home and my safety is with me. And I think I always, my whole life, have relied on somebody else emotionally to like fill that when something was going wrong, like reach out to my partner, whatever. And just realizing that I can do that myself. And it's actually more fulfilling to support myself in that way rather than needing it from somebody else and they don't react right. And then I'm like mad and I'm like, I'm sad. Like, why aren't you making me feel better?
Yeah.
That just knowing home is always with me, no matter what external circumstances happen.
Yeah, fuck. But like that's it. Like the thing I always want to get to is like the raw and real of being an embodied woman and like embodying your femininity and your sex energy. It's not porn energy where everything's sexy and good and blah, blah. It's the fullness of your femininity and then the capacity to find fulfillment through that, where we're not needy, where we're not leaking, where we feel but we have a safe container to alchemize. And I like love that's why I like so much Bessie is like sacred rage and emotional scaling and going through these shadows because it's the feminine. Like the feminine is chaos. And when we as a woman then can come back and say, but I was my safe place, and everything around me then reflects safety, we magnetize in a new level of trust in a world that innately is daunting and unpredictable and overwhelming. And that core for me is like, it's everything. Because when we can be in faith and in self union, we can face crazy shit. And that's the thing I never want any woman to ever get into the mindset that it's not going to happen. Like, of course it's going to happen. It's human experience. Like, bro, it's intense out there. Like, it's a crazy place for a soul. So, yeah,
Totally,
that's profound, freaking
totally.
profound. Let me ask you this, just kind of side looping, but to a different topic. Before you joined SEM, was there anything that nearly stopped you from wanting to be in the space?
Of course, money. Money's always the issue, right?
Fair.
Uh, I just got divorced. I was paying all the bills. So I was like, things are tight. Ah. Um, but I say this all the time, and maybe this is my sales point when I'm talking to other women, is that I was like, if Emma called me and was like, I need more money, I would take out a second mortgage. Like I would find the money. Like it is that important.
Uh, but so good. And like I love that you speak into it. And it's such an important thing. Like I was the same when I started my journey as well. It's like I just but that leap of faith and that inner knowing provides such shifts, right? Like in our own system. I'm actually kind of curious. I know you've gone through journeys with your business as well. How's that been shifting for you in this state and realm in the last like couple months?
I think I touched on this on one of our calls, but I've noticed, and this is still very alive and true at this very moment. When something is a client is not aligned with me, I like cannot force it. I think previous Chelsea in the past, like always like to power through and be like, no, I'm gonna force this, I'm gonna make this work. I need money. I'll put, myself and my happiness aside so I can make this connection work or whatever it is. And with business, it's like sometimes I sign clients on and we just really realize right away it's actually not a good fit, it's not going to work, and it goes away. Or even like before, signing a client, it's almost like I'm not controlling it. It's just when it is not a right fit, it falls away really quickly. When it's not aligned, it doesn't work. And it's rough sometimes, from my bank account, I'm like, oh, that didn't work out. But it always ends up being a blessing. It always ends up that I get a replacement that's better. Every single time, it never fails. And I just realized like my letting go and just my faith, like my just trust and being like, it's all working out. And for whatever reason, I had to go through almost like a relationship. Like, you go through, it's like dating. It was fun, but I let it go.
Yeah, but also like so profound with work. And I always say this like when it comes to like money and finance, I say like a woman has those three aspects, right? We start with our inner body and our opening, and then it's like our relational connection, and then it's our work and our purpose connection. And you can tell when you are aligned because you will become magnetic for what's right and repulsive for what is wrong. And that alignment, I personally believe, creates the greatest level of impact and power, but also freedom. Like to feel like you're not going to betray parts of you for other people is like the first sign like I'm stepping up in my life. But wow, profound. Second
Definitely.
question on those kind of things is slightly off because you and I are like topicing, but I just love it all. What made you just join in? I know you said finance was like a big factor to be like, and it is like it's a leap to choose to invest into your journey, of course. But what was the thing that really made you be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm in?
I remember this was so long ago now. I remember you like going through the pillars and I I don't know if there was like one specific one, but I was just like kind of going back to that like I need I need I need to check off like things on my healing list, like I need to I was feeling like I wanted to go like deeper into my spirituality, but I didn't really like know what avenue to go. I was like, I'm doing yoga 4 days a week. Like I don't know what else to do. And just knowing that I would have support also, being kind of on a lonely healing journey road, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need something to anchor in on because I felt so ungrounded and like I was a leaf being blown in the wind. So I felt like I really got that with the community and with myself. So it was a nice double whammy.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And also, like, it is often that, like, I was saying today to one of the girls who's joining into the next round, like, when we're in this path, having people that give us the space to enter ourselves. Like, every time we enter into like coaching containers, it gives us that capacity to come here, but then also to be held and go then, of course, deep into all of the magic. But the
Yeah.
magic for me, the biggest part is that depth of connection and safety that we can then step in and go into all of the steps and the stages. Wow, I love it.
Me too.
Final, final question I would have for you, and maybe just take a moment and breathe into your body and just be in that space in your vessel. But imagining there's another woman who's on a path like you were, where you were at. What would you want to say to her if she was considering joining in and beginning her journey?
Say that the investment will return to you tenfold in ways you cannot even imagine. That's what I would say. And you just have to trust that is true. There is nothing more important than learning, knowing, and growing with yourself fully, and knowing that you can get your own feet on the ground and you can handle anything that comes your way. And this gives you the tools to do that. And one thing for me is going through the course in a linear way is one thing, but I always go back to like my favorite parts just when I'm like, oh, things feel crazy. I just need to like come back to this moment. And it's like always there for you. This is not a one-time investment, something that you do once. You're gonna carry it on and go deeper with it um, forever and ever. And everybody should do it.
I love this so much. I'm like, yes, babe. And thank you for sharing it as well, because it's like one of those, it's a method. Um, and what you've reflected here is like what I want to say every time I want to call with a girl or I connect in with someone is like, it's for life, right? Like it's the thing that like picks us up from such, again, I was the same, like a shell of myself when I began. And then we get to build it and we get to just go through our phases and our stages and the fullness of life, but in that depth and in that power. So, yeah, baby. All I can say is thank you so much for being in this space. This has been so beautiful, huh?
Yeah. Truly beautiful for sure. Probably the best time in my life. Like I'll probably look back and be like, oh, I remember when I was just going through SEM. It was so life-changing. I got to fall in love with myself. Cool. Greatest love affair I've ever had. Oh my God, who knew?
Honest to God, sometimes I look at Daniel now and I'm like, this is amazing. But when I first fell in love with myself, that was the time. It's so good with you, but wow, me.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, baby. It's been the biggest honor to have you in this space and to have you in this sisterhood and to witness your journey as well. Like, it's just like nothing else getting to watch the journey and be like, yes. But thank you for sharing all of it here in
Yeah.
this world.
Thank you. You're magical.
Okay, baby. Yeah.